After witnessing the death and immediate resurrection of the monster, Avi and Eliza are shocked to their bones. The monster lets out a loud roar that gets the other students in their midst to be very scared. Ray, on the other hand, stands facing the monster as he thinks of a vicious way to end this large beast. While this is going on, Clarice and her team continue advancing deep into the forest. When she hears the loud roar of the monster, curious as to what it is, she slips away from her team and goes to figure it out. Shortly after, she sees the large monster and admits to never seeing something like that before. At this time, Ray is occupied with fighting the monster. He springs up in the air to strike the monster, but his efforts are futile. This makes him realize just how tough the monster is. Trapped in a now defensive position, Ray considers using his hidden power just once. However, just as he is about to do so, Amelia uses her power to generate a firewall which separates him from the monster. Then she signals Avi, who wastes no time in throwing a rock, giving Eliza the perfect opportunity to showcase her power by directing the rock to the monster with the wind. Fortunately, with the monster now destabilized, the team screams for Ray to finish him off. Without wasting much time, Ray sprints to the monster and stabs it just before splitting it in half. Having witnessed this, Allium is surprised. The team, however, is very excited that they were able to pull off such an attack. While Ov expresses his joy by happily grabbing Ray, Eliza's joy comes in the form of a shock when she hugs Amelia, stating that she was so scared, holding her tightly. Amelia commends Eliza for working hard. Meanwhile, in the middle of trying to free his friends from the monster's webs, Allium is asked by his followers if he thinks Ray is really strong, but he seems more angry about listening to the question than giving an answer. Well, as much as he doesn't want to admit it, Clarice figures out that Ray is really strong while she tries to align her thoughts. The being in the shadow who had brought the monster back to life disappears into thin air. On the bright side, Ray's team eventually gets their last stamp. With this, they are now done with their mission, and the team begins to offer their thanks to each other. Ray apologizes to Amelia and Eliza for making them keep up with the pace of him and Ov. At the end of the skill practicing training, Ray's group is announced as the winner. Hearing this, Clarice is excited and claps happily. However, her excitement is cut short by her team's cold reaction towards the winning team. On the other hand, while people are not surprised that the team had won since they had Amelia, some others are angry that Ray gets to taste victory with her. Furthermore, they assume that Amelia had done all the work, making it possible for someone like Ray to stand in front of nobles like them. Noticing just how much hatred he is drawing to his team, Ray offers to leave, but he is convinced otherwise by Eliza. Just before being told that the fact that they won cannot be changed, hearing them say this gives him a sense of relief. However, Allium's anger for Ray continues to rise uncontrollably. Meanwhile, Ray's master Lydia anticipates his arrival, but he remains unavailable. When her maid comes in, she seeks to know if he has arrived but is told otherwise. This gets her frustrated, mostly due to the fact that he hasn't come to see her for 2 months. The thought of this makes her angrier as she speaks. Just then, the maid sees him from the window and informs her master about it. The once angry and ranting master switches up immediately, looking through the window herself to see if he really has come. Seeing her master in this happy state, the maid offers to go and welcome Ray. When Ray finally meets with his master, she tries so hard to hold her excitement and desperation. She seeks to know if he has grown taller, but he informs her that it isn't the case. Jokingly, she states how she has raised her head to see him as opposed to how she looked at him some years back. Then she urges him to sit down. When the two are seated, Master Lydia asks to know if Ray is okay. While he claims he is, he shows her his hands which seem to have not recovered from a hidden form of power. This prompts her to inform him that it will take at least 5 years. Ray doesn't seem to have a problem with this since he knows that using that particular form of power is forbidden. However, Master Lydia lets him know that he can use it with the right judgment, solely because he is next in line to becoming the Ice Blade Sorcerer. Shortly after, she reveals her real reason for calling him. Apparently, there have been rumors going around concerning the sorcery researchers' circle. Hearing that they are rumors, Ray seeks to know if they are so serious that they require her intervention, and she says it is to further make him understand. Master Lydia reveals that she has only paid attention to the rumor since it concerns Engram. While she reminds him of the fact that research on sorcery should only be on sorcery, she informs him that this isn't in her field. However, it involves the brain since she says that sorcery comes from the brain. At that point, she lets him know that engram is the part of the brain that memorizes sorcery. This makes her believe that research on the brain is very costly. Just then, she shows him a letter from a group of people who are willing to do anything to achieve their goal. The issue of researching on the brain doesn't seem ambiguous. However, it is because the researchers cut open the sorcerer's brain to find information. These group of people, she says, have no problem with doing anything due to how upset they are. The people in question are called eugenics. At this moment, Master Lydia reveals that they had tried to rope her in. However, at the time, she had wondered why she would fall for it since she regarded them as fools. Her maid had informed her earlier that they are on the lookout for sorcerers with authority. However, she believes it is difficult to develop sorcery while abandoning human dignity. This, she reminds Ray, and is pleased to know that he remembers. Later in the day, Ray takes his master out to the forest for a bath. When she returns, she feels refreshed, even more so about taking the bath. After having a serious discussion, she excitedly states that walking with him reminds her of his training days. She recollects his training as one in which the unit's elites were her suffering, but which he endured even as a child. Just then, she asks to know if he has made friends. When he says he has, and after breaking down the characteristics of Ov, Eliza, and Amelia, she asks him to bring them with him the next time he comes, demanding to want to meet the people who made him smile. After that, Master Lydia is reminded that it will be June soon, which will herald the Sorcery Swordsman tournament. Just to let him know, she reveals that she was a 4-time champion back in her days. She urges him to participate in it too since she believes he can match her record. Hearing this, Ray declines, stating that he wishes to remain behind the scenes instead. Furthermore, he reveals his intention to just rest and cheer his friends on. Upon hearing this, Master Lydia gives him the liberty to make his decisions concerning the matter. She, however, blurts out her relief at seeing him and hands him a note which she claims he would need someday. Meanwhile, after meeting his master, Ray goes to meet Eliza. At that time, when he meets her, she's about to go to the library, and he demands to join her. Hearing him say this gets her frustrated. This makes her change her clothes since she believes she's going out with Ray. Coincidentally, Eliza seeks a book talking about engram. When the two spend time reading, Eliza is shocked to see Ray read a romance novel. He, however, lets her know that reading romance novels helps him understand human emotions since he doesn't know much about it. Later that day, while the two leave the library, Clarice sees them. Seeing them, she is surprised to find Ray at the library. She also finds it hard to talk to him since he is with another girl. However, while she hides to get her act together, Ray and Eliza discover her, and he asks her to join them for lunch. The mere thought of this makes her restless. Before eating, Ray introduces the two girls to each other, and they act so weird that it made their introverted nature clearly visible. They each, however, reveal that this is their first time in such a situation. After eating, Ray says goodbye to the girls as they leave together. Turning around, he surprisingly meets Amelia, while she is also surprised to see him. She informs him that she is there for a gathering of nobles, although she finds it to be annoying. She feels the start of the Sorcery Swordsman tournament will give the nobles many events to exchange pleasantries. Although she is a noble, she doesn't seem interested in any of this. Realizing that she has been talking loudly to herself, she apologizes to Ray for complaining. Ray, however, doesn't seem to have an issue with her complaining since he believes it's necessary to vent out sometimes. Just then, he compliments her choice of clothing, stating that it suits her more than the usual uniform she always had on, further stating that it brings out her beautiful and intelligent charm. Surprisingly, he reveals the entire detail of his outing to her, not missing a single event. Hearing that he went out with Eliza and Clarice gets her jealous, and she demands that he accompanies her next for the outing. Amelia decides to go to a mall where she tries out different clothes, receiving different and unique compliments from Ray. Hearing him utter these complimentary words, Amelia states that he must go with women, but it doesn't seem to occur to him that he is. He feels this is so because he was raised by so many women. Still in the dressing room, Amelia sees a spider and dashes out in her underwear, not minding that Ray is present. When she comes out, she immediately grabs him, scared and crying. However, when she realizes what she is wearing, she immediately runs back and embarrassed. At this point, Ray seeks to know if she's okay and apologizes for accidentally touching her soft skin. Later that day, Ray gets invited by one of his teachers, Mentor Gray, and asked about his life at the academy. In response, he reveals that he is very satisfied with it. Just then, he seeks to know if something is wrong. This prompts Gray to blurt out the fact that she worries about him since he is the first ordinary student since the academy's establishment. Due to this, she fears he would have been heavily condemned by the noble students and apologizes to him for that. She states that she is working hard to become a sorcery researcher, fueling her desire to care more about students like Ray and taking care of them in order not to become a lonely researcher. Furthermore, she wishes to become a teacher who progresses along with the students. While she finds this to be selfish, she states that she strongly wishes to be Ray's teacher. Hearing this, Ray blurts out the fact that she is his teacher already, although she doesn't seem contented with that. She eventually asks him to see her if he has any problem. Before leaving, he informs her that he is thankful since his teachers and friends treat him nicely. That night, the students are worried about Allium since he hasn't come to school for a while. On the other hand, Allium spends his time in the woods conducting dark sorcery as he seeks